Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. This is going to go very quickly, although we're going to try to make it as easy as we can. Very interesting day. Very interesting day. Is this the end? I keep hearing, this is the end. This is the end. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. First of all, don't fall for this 4,200 for gold, 4,200 or less for gold. Don't fall for these ads. Don't buy gold and silver from a pawn shop. Either a certified gold dealer like we go to, or 90% of our gold and silver is from Noble Gold. Because when you get a gold piece, I'll sell you this gold piece for $1,000. I guarantee you the outside's made of gold. Just like the Credit Suisse thing we did a video on. The inside ain't gold. I'll sell you this. Oh, I'll sell it to you for $100. Well, maybe I'll sell you one of these two coins for $1,000 a piece. Maybe I'll do it for less than 4,200. Don't buy from discount gold houses. Don't do that. That's stupid. You go to change it in, you don't know what you got. Unless you have a $10,000, $15,000 machine, you can take this gold and run it over and make sure it's real gold. But in this case, it's not. It's aluminum foil covered chocolate. Anyway, again, that's why I go to Noble Gold, 877-646-5347. Anyway, there are a lot of threats on Trump. God said the 8th of March, there would be a circle and a circle, double 8. So what I figure with the infinity symbol is that the threats will continue. The Iranian security official, I think he's head, Ali Larijani, I don't mean to mispronounce his name. He said, "So beware lest you be the one who disappears." He threatened Trump when? On the 8th of March with a serious assassination attempt. And we all know that Zelensky on the 5th said, "Give me more money, more money, more money, or you might disappear." So he threatened Trump, and he threatened Viktor Orban of Hungary as they cut off the oil and begin attacking, sending in teams to kill Viktor Orban into Hungary. And we're supporting Zelensky so he can bump off European leaders. That's beyond the pale. Beyond the pale. He's going in to kill Viktor Orban. And we better speed this up. Congress has finally figured out that the older people are paying a 20% increase in Medicare to pay for the 100 million refugees and the 50 million people on illegal aliens on medical welfare. They're giving it to the seniors to pay for $20 more a month. That accounts for more than, what did they get, a 2.8% increase at $1,200 a month. So they got a $30 increase in Medicare. Actually took out about $40. Because the idiots in Congress separated, which no longer exists, separated Medicare Part A from Part B, Part C, Part D, who knows, Part E. We're paying about $60 more a month for medical care per person. In other words, Congress screwed the older people, or Trump screwed the older people to kill them, while 150 million people get welfare, free dental, free medical, and our dental costs are going to be somewhere around, I'd say $24,000 for the next year for us and the people we're supporting, because I'm supporting somebody. I've set aside for them over the next year $18,000. I've guaranteed the dentist. How I'm going to pay that is beyond me, but by God, God can make it happen. He can do anything. So we've set aside about $26,000 for dental for people who just, their teeth are falling apart and they're in massive pain. So, but the illegals get it for free. Remember, the illegals and the refugees, 100 million of them, they fly in, stay here for a month, get full dental, and fly back to New Delhi, fly back to Kiev, wherever they're going, they get free dental. But you, the Americans, get screwed. There's enough money to give free dental and medical to every American, but we give it to refugees. Why? It's finally reached Congress. But Congress doesn't exist. That's why it's Mr. Smith, not Congressman Smith. Congress was disbanded. But Trump won't pass the SAFE Act until the Senate votes for nothing's going to pass until the SAFE Act passes. Yet the Senate has been dissolved. So WTF, man. Anyway, a little faster. Block, the company, Jamie Dorsey, who started Twitter, started Block Company, and he has 10,000 employees, and they have about 50 million customers. They take care of people. The credit card transactions. You run your credit card through, beep, 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 beep. They charge you 3 to 5% on every purchase. They pocket the money, and he has 10,000 employees. They're going down to 6,000 employees, and he was wearing a hat that said love as he sent out a tweet, and he sent out emails to lay off 4,000 people. Nice guy with a heart. He laid 4,000 people office. He laid 4,000 people off with love. Oh, his company lost $2 billion last year, and they had to borrow $10 billion so they could lose $2 billion. So all these credit card transactions, you're paying somebody 3 to 5% to do those credit card transactions. They pocket the money and borrow $10 billion more from the government. Now, Block will owe $1.2 billion next year for interest alone. The government, Federal Reserve, gives the wholesale banks money at 1%. The wholesale banks give the retail banks money at 3%. The retail banks lend out the money at between 3 and 33% credit cards. They're greedy, son of a blankety blanks. And they're violating federal law, so they lend it to Block at 6 or 8%. And Block says, fine, next year we'll borrow more money. So the entire digital monetary system is massively supported with government grants that you're paying through higher grocery store costs and higher taxes. Aren't you proud to be an American, to bring us into programmable digital money with digital ID? Aren't you proud to be an American, to spend over $100 billion a month? A month? It's $1,000 for every working man, woman, and child. $1,000 a month just to bring on the digital ID. You're either paying it in increased taxes or in increased prices. And in Canada, there's now 100,000 registered dead people who were feeling depressed and wanted to die. Anywhere from 3 years old, a depressed 3 years old. They put her in a chamber, she's dead. The parents don't even know about it. A 70-year-old gal who's depressed, who says, I don't know if I want to die. So then they take her to the chamber. She says, I don't want to die. I was just talking. She's dead 10 minutes later. 100,000 of them, more people than died in World War I and World War II. They're now massively slaughtering Canadians. And Gavin Newsom's wife made a lot of money off of porno. They make films that promote cross-dressing. Porno. They're showing to kids as young as 4 years old. Porno. She made a lot of money on it. There are no arrests for Gavin Newsom's wife for promoting porno in the public educational system. Trump will not arrest Gavin Newsom's wife for creating and distributing porno films for 4-year-olds. She will not be arrested. He's part of the Epstein files, and they're not going away. These perverts, the whole world now knows who the perverts are. There's Epstein Island, there's Cabo Fabrosa, and there's all over the place. And Pakistan is the war spreading. Pakistan officially declares war on Afghanistan. Pakistan has 128 nuclear weapons made in the United States under the Green Sands Program, initiated by Dwight D. Eisenhower. As soon as we exposed the Green Sands Program, the CIA created a rock group called Green Sands and covered up the Green Sands Program. Green sand refers to plutonium. So U.S. technicians are in Pakistan to maintain the batteries and maintain the circuitry of the U.S.-made nuclear weapons in Pakistan. So eventually they'll fire on India. India will fire the U.S.-made weapons at Pakistan, and we'll have the initiation of WW3. That's what they're hoping. Iran has been killing Americans for decades, screaming death to America, bombs everywhere. Finally, Trump said enough. Sent in 3 carrier groups and said, bomb all their missiles, bomb everything. So Iran started mining the port of Hormuz, which is illegal. So now these ships are scared to leave with Saudi Arabian and Qatar and Bahraini oil. They were too damn cheap to build a pipeline across the desert to release the oil into the Mediterranean. They knew Iran was blowing up things randomly. Now the U.S. blows up the oil wells and the oil refineries and the oil storage facilities, so Iran knocks out the nuclear reactors and the desalination plants in Qatar and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. It's all about massive killing of the people. Has nothing to do with war. We could have blocked 2 ports in Iran and 2 roads coming into Iran, and they would have had no food imports. We could have used 4 missiles, just like the Ukraine. 5 missiles, and we could cut off all the munitions to the Ukraine. The Russians didn't do it. Why? Because they want this war. The people from the Ukraine go in. The Ukrainian government notifies them where the new recruits are. The Russian artillery blows them up. It's an annihilation of the Ukrainian people, what the Russians call the orcs. The round-faced Ukrainian, it's the annihilation of the Ukrainian males. That's why we didn't block the 2 ports that bring 90% of the food into Iran and the 2 roads coming in, one coming in from Azerbaijan and then into Daesk and through Chechnya, which are states of Russia, into Azerbaijan and then coming into Iran. It's a 2-lane road. They could use the Caspian Sea, but there's no ports. It's a saline, a salt sea. Tehran has not built any wells to support Tehran with water. Instead, they were planning to evacuate Tehran when the bombs started hitting. There is very little water left in Tehran. Could the United States have used 1 bomb to take out the dam supplying water to Tehran? Could we have used 2 bombs to take out the ports and 1 bomb to take out the Azerbaijan road and 1 bomb to take out the road from Kazakhstan into Iran? Absolutely. But we're not gonna. Instead, we're just gonna bomb, and we're gonna triple the number of bombs we make and triple the number of missiles we make, triple the number of artillery rounds we make, triple the amount of ammunition we make, because it's all about money. The troops have been all over the Middle East to provide money for Exxon and Shell and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that helps provide money for America, so why not? But Iran has been killing the U.S. for years, so here we've got all these prophets rising up. The Marian prophecies, the Fatima prophecies, the Garibaldо prophecies, they all are meaningly esoteric. You know, I did a prophecy 10, 15 years ago, and then some Irish Mother Mary repeated me about 8 hours later, almost word for word. These things are from Satan. They're so esoteric you don't know what's going on. And Baba Vanga said the EU will become Muslim, so the demons are trying to make the EU 100% Muslim, and then they'll eliminate the population down to 100 million, and they'll all be Muslim. That's the goal, to follow the demon Baba Vanga, who went blind at 12 years old. And this faith healer in Mexico who pulls tumors out, they went back in and found out that everyone he healed got sick again, and they finally arrested him. But anyway, read a book on that. Daniel, however, did say, when the abomination of desolation comes to Jerusalem, flee to your rooftops or run from Jerusalem. The abomination of desolation in Daniel, which is in the Old Testament, is the 3rd temple. And it's already been prefabricated. They're going to put it near the north gate. Again, the Muslims put their Muslim temple in the wrong spot. What else is new? But the temple's already built. However, Daesh, which was a military contractor, said the U.S. population will go down to 67 million by last year. They revised it to 100 million. They plan on killing massive amounts of U.S. folks, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow, how they're massively shutting down farmlands all across the West by SWAT raids, killing people who are 88 years old living on a farm, destroying farms, fining farms out of existence. And Trump makes no arrests. No arrest Trump. Kill the farmer. Destroy the food production. No arrest Trump. Anyway, so we are shutting down our farms. Food production is going down. We're getting near this magnetic anomaly. Exactly what it's going to do, I don't know. There used to be 32 volcanoes erupting worldwide. Now there's 48. So the number of volcanic eruptions has gone up. And don't believe the government. The number of earthquakes is going through the roof. So we don't know what this magnetic anomaly will do. But we do know everybody in the White House is buying a bunker. So what does God say? You've got all these prophets running around. It's the end. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. First of all, there's nothing Trump and the Ayatollah of Iran, and Zelensky, and Mersk's, and Starmer, and the weirdo who runs France, the girl who runs France, the president, and his wife, who's a boy. There's nothing, and the Canadian prime minister, who's a little fruity-tooty. He's mixed up in the head, killed over 100,000 Canadians, mass murder in Canada. There's nothing Xi Jinping or the prime minister of Japan can do to bring Yeshua back. Yeshua, Jesus, that's the French word for light, which means Satan. His name was Yeshua. There's nothing we can do to bring him back. His timing is his own timing. He said, I will come at a time and an hour you do not know. So all these people predicting the end, Yeshua said, I'm going to come when I want to come. Kiss my rear. So, but I do highly recommend food, water, toilet paper, ammunition, heat, communications, gold and silver, and medicine. We're running our wood stove now to test out our alternate heat system. We do it every once in a while to make sure our wood stove works just fine. Test the fan, oil the fan, dust the wood stove, make sure everything, we run it for a day or two in the winter, just to make sure there's no bird's nest. So in case we do cut off the power, in case they do cut off the power, and we're on the same power line as Fort Lewis. So, and the Iranian terror cells are being activated, so exactly what that means, I don't know. But our power grid is so vulnerable. The FBI kept saying, oh, they're knocking out the power transforming, blah, blah, blah. And there's still no security at these hubs where the power comes in. So it was the FBI that was knocking out the power across the country. And there's no security. The power companies have no security. None at any of the power generating plants. They have no security at these places that you drive by where there's 1 million transformers. They have no security. Not even one security guard. Not even one employee. And they're decreasing the numbers. So it's easier to target and knock out the power in America. All being done by your government. Anyway, so don't be fooled about people saying, look here and look there. Buy gold at less than $4,200 an ounce. Don't be fooled. It's all a bunch of garbage. Just keep living your life, doing what you're supposed to be doing, and just be ready. That's why we have this program, so you can be ready. God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you bright and early. Wait till the grocery store prices start going up. By the way, these oil prices are speculative oil prices. Oil's still selling at $15 to $25 a barrel, 45-gallon barrel at the pump. All of this rise in oil prices is all speculation. So when you see the price of gas go up, it's purely gouging you. The oil companies are gouging you. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.